Speed. Road. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Batman.
I am the Father.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking a vertical plunge, you could say, into a film that, well, looks like a classic New York thriller on the surface.
Right.
Our mission is to dig into this critical idea, how Man on a Ledge, the 2012 caper, manages to feel fresh even with a really familiar plot, all thanks to quality filmmaking.
And that's a really important point, especially with caper films. Audiences are smart now.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of know the beats. They often guess the twist way ahead of time.
Yeah, you see it coming sometimes.
Exactly. So it all comes down to how you tell the story, how well it's executed. We've seen it done brilliantly. The genre's definitely still got legs. Just look at, say, Ocean's 11 or 13. Meticulous, slick. Audiences love that craft.
That intricate planning, yeah. It's almost more fun watching the setup than waiting for a surprise sometimes.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But the line between a hit and a miss in this genre, it's really fine. If you handle it carelessly, if you think the audience isn't paying attention, you end up with an Ocean's 12.
Right. Kind of deflating.
Yeah, it feels disrespectful. Our sources suggest Man on a Ledge, directed by Asghar Leth, written by Pablo Fingers, works because it actually respects the genre rules and focuses hard on the craft.
So this deep dive is basically your guide to understanding why this movie, even if the plot sounds like something you've seen a dozen times, is actually genuinely worth your time. Let's get into that opening scene. High stakes from the get-go. So the film kicks off with Nick, that's Sam Worthington, checking into this pretty fancy hotel in central New York. But right away, there are weird signs. He's obsessive about the details, insists on the exact room he booked. They offer him a free upgrade, nicer suite. He says no.
Which is fascinating, right? It tells you two things straight off. One, that specific room number, the location, it's critical, part of a plan.
Yeah.
And two, this isn't some random guy. He's on a schedule, got a purpose, no spontaneity here.
And then he orders this huge breakfast, eats it all. It feels intentional. Like, is it a last meal? Or is he just fueling up for something intense?
Could be either. But whatever it is, the moment he's done eating, he wipes his mouth, walks over to the window, and just steps out onto the ledge.
Instant chaos down on the street. People see him. Authorities get called. Looks like a classic suicide jumper situation.
But you find out pretty fast there's more going on. When the police arrive, start doing their thing, Nick just shuts them down. Says he'll only talk to one specific person.
Right, one negotiator. Lydia Mercer, played by Elizabeth Banks.
And demanding her, specifically, someone seemingly random, that's the signal to the cops and to us watching that this isn't just a cry for help. It's theater. It's a big, public, very calculated distraction.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Why is Nick putting himself literally on the edge, center stage for this whole media storm? We get flashbacks, right? His backstory.
Yeah, we learn he used to be a cop, but now he's doing time, convicted for stealing this incredibly valuable diamond he was supposed to be guarding.
And the crucial thing here, the sources really emphasize this, is that he's always said he didn't do it, always maintained his innocence.
Right. So how does he get from a prison cell to a skyscraper ledge? Turns out he got day release, escorted, for his father's funeral.
Ah, that's the opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the cemetery, things get heated. He gets into this massive argument, even a fist fight, with his brother Joey, this Jamie Bell.
Okay.
And while the guards are focused on breaking that up, amidst all the chaos, Nick grabs a weapon and makes a run for it. It looks messy, but it feels calculated.
And here's where it all clicks into place, right? The real reason he's on that ledge, that aha moment, he's not planning to jump. He's stalling. He needs time. Because the guy who owned that diamond, the one Nick supposedly stole, David Englander, he's in the same hotel.
Right.
Right, that.
That's the core of it, the real caper. Englander, played by Ed Harris, this big corporate type, he's giving a press conference for his huge new building project.
And the timing is just too perfect.
Way too perfect.
Yeah.
It's Englander's first major public thing since he, quote-unquote, lost the diamond and conveniently collected a massive insurance check for it.
So Nick's creating this giant spectacle, this diversion, right under the nose of the man he thinks framed him at the very site of Englander's latest triumph.
This is a pretty neat setup.
It is a solid setup for a caper. But yeah, like you said, take away the height, the ledge, and it's a fairly standard revenge heist plot.
Which brings us back to the main point from the sources.
Yeah.
The how is more important than the what.
Absolutely. It's easy to just dismiss the plot as, standard stuff. But actually, using a familiar frame like that, that's maybe the hardest thing for a director to pull off well. It puts all the pressure on the execution.
Makes sense.
And the reviews we looked at, they spent a lot of time on this shift from just plot summary to how the film is actually made. One review explicitly says the quality of the filmmaking is what lifts it above the usual forgettable thrillers.
So the filmmakers kind of doubled down. They knew the plot was familiar, so they had to nail the execution. No room for error. Exactly. And they focused on things like the script. The review praises it for being strong, entertaining, and giving the whole cast actual meaty stuff to say and do, not just moving pieces around.
Which makes it feel more grounded, I guess, less like just watching plot points unfold.
Yeah, more human. And crucially, this focus on quality means there are basically no dull moments.
Yeah.
The story just clips along at a really good pace.
Which is impressive considering the main character is literally stuck on an 18-inch ledge for most of the movie. You don't feel bogged down.
Not at all. And visually, they use that confinement really well. The camera work is key. They use the New York setting brilliantly. Lots of contrasts.
How so?
Well, you get the tension from switching between the cramped, almost suffocating feel inside the hotel rooms, where Lydia is negotiating, the cops are strategizing, maybe the other part of the plan is happening.
Right, the behind-the-scenes stuff.
And then, bam, you cut outside to that terrifying wide-open space, the sheer drop right below Nick's feet.
So you're getting both claustrophobia and vertigo at the same time. That keeps the audience hooked in.
Definitely keeps you on edge. And technically, it all serves that ticking clock feeling. Lots of different camera angles, really emphasizing the height sometimes, or doing quick close-ups inside to show the frantic action of the heist unfolding in parallel.
But hang on, doesn't just relying on fast cuts and quick pacing sometimes feel like a way to paper over plot holes or maybe weak writing in thrillers? Did the source mention that risk?
That's a fair question. And yeah, the source kind of acknowledges that danger, but argues that in this case, the quick editing actually helps clarify things. It syncs up the different threads, the ledge, the heist inside, rather than hiding problems.
Okay.
The edits keep the energy up because they cut between the different parts of the plan, making sure you understand what's happening where, even if you're anxious about whether they'll pull it off in time.
Gotcha. And there's music, too.
Oh yeah, a very insistent score. It's not just background noise. It really functions like a literal countdown timer. Adds to that feeling of desperation, like just trying to buy those extra minutes.
So the craft really holds it together. Let's talk performances then, because familiar roles, especially in thrillers, can easily become caricatures.
Right, huge risk.
Sam Worthington as Nick. He could easily have just been the stoic action guy.
But the sources really praise his performance here. He plays Nick as smart, calculating, but also really vulnerable. You believe he's scared up there. He has doubts, flaws. He's not just some superhero.
And the source mentioned that in some of his bigger movies before this, he sometimes got lost in the CGI, the spectacle, became part of the furniture almost.
Right. But here, the focus is tight on him, on his face, his choices. He really has to carry the emotional weight, and apparently he does.
Okay, then there's Elizabeth Banks as Lydia, the negotiator. Now that sounds like a cliche waiting to happen.
Oh, totally. On paper, it's the most worn-out trope. The negotiator, haunted by a past failure, someone died on her watch, she hits the bottle, becomes an outcast. You've seen it 100 times.
Yeah, usually played way too dramatically.
But Banks, the review says, plays it just right. She somehow dodges all those cliches. She feels grounded, sympathetic, believable.
So her scenes with Nick don't feel like standard police procedure.
No, more like two quite damaged people caught in this incredibly tense situation, actually connecting on some level.
What about the supporting cast? Especially the villain, that's crucial. Ed Harris as Englander.
Yeah, Ed Harris always brings a certain weight, doesn't he? He definitely has that aura of power, corporate arrogance.
But does he chew the scenery?
No, and that's what the analysis highlights. Restraint. He avoids becoming this over-the-top panto villain. He keeps it low-key, controlled, which actually makes Englander feel much more dangerous, more real, a powerful guy trying to keep a lid on a massive secret.
That makes sense. A restrained villain makes the whole high-stakes situation feel more plausible.
Definitely. And you can't forget Jamie Bell as Joey, the brother.
Right.
He's basically running the inside job, the actual heist part.
Right, while Nick provides the distraction.
And Bell is just consistently good, isn't he? Reliable, interesting to watch. He gives a solid performance that you need for that part of the plot to work.
And any other smaller roles that stood out?
Well, the source mentions Ed Burns, who plays the main police officer on the scene with Lydia. It's not a huge role, but he apparently shines because he's written and played as the only cop who actually shows Lydia some empathy, some understanding, given her history.
A touch of humanity amongst the procedural stuff.
Exactly. It stops the police force just being this monolithic obstacle. Adds a bit of moral texture.
It really sounds like the filmmakers knew they had this familiar structure, and they were walking their own kind of tightrope. One bad performance, one clumsy scene, and the whole thing could have just fallen flat.
That's a great way to put it. They weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. They were just focused on building the absolute best, most polished wheel they could.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you, the listener? Well, the sources strongly recommend Man on a Ledge. Not because it's going to stun you with some narrative twist you never saw coming.
Probably not, no.
But because it's just really well put together, start to finish, skillfully made.
It's solid proof that sometimes, maybe often, execution matters more than pure originality. Especially in a genre like the caper film that has such clear rules. The craft elevates the familiar and makes it genuinely entertaining.
A good reminder that even a familiar story can be great if the storytelling itself is top-notch.
Which leaves us with something interesting for you to think about. Given that we know the plot beats and Nick's whole plan hinges on distraction, on spectacle, on stalling while others do the work, how does that change the tension for you as a viewer? What's the fundamental difference in how you experience a caper based on this kind of elaborate diversion and character work compared to one built around a genuine jaw-dropping plot twist nobody saw coming? Think about where your focus goes and what kind of thrill you get from each approach.